Let me shock you. The first day my husband spoke to me about marriage, I said yes. Guess how many days we'll be talking before that day? It was that day. I wanted to get married at 18, but I didn't get married till maybe like 6 years later. 6 years, 2 broken engagements, and the final one was 4. Have you heard that song, I'm Desperate for You? I'm desperate for you.
Yeah, sure.
I would say I'm desperate. I'm not afraid to use that word. That word doesn't always connote a negative meaning. I am still desperate for my husband. I am always like, where is my husband? I want to hug. I want to talk to. He's like a huge part of my life. So I wouldn't use that word desperate as a negative thing. In this case, as a single person trying to get married, I did a lot of speed dating. If I date you for a day and I see that, oh, this is an okay, this is an okay, out of the picture, I don't have a week to give to you.
Today on A Day in the Life series, I'm joined by Mrs. Vivian Foh. She's passionate about helping women prepare for marriage with clarity and conviction. But let me say men and women, not just women. In this episode, we are diving into marital delay. This episode is about walking in purpose before the ring comes. So let's get into it.
I really love anything marriage, relationship, dating. So it's a good thing that I'm here talking about one of my favorite topics. So first thing, when you told me about this thing being about, okay, like women, how women can prepare for marriage, getting ready, I feel like women are more on the receiving end of how to get prepared. So I just feel like there should be something for the men. So today we're going to look at some things that causes delay for men as well as for women.
Okay.
We're starting with the men first. Like one of the things that causes delay for men, right?
Yeah.
You can just number them as you will, is them just feeling like when the time is right, I will just go and pick a wife. Lack of intentionality. Right?
Lack of intentionality.
Lack of intentionality. Like the marital awareness is not that much. They just know that, at this time, it's something you build over time, like knowing the kind of person you are, knowing what drives you, knowing, okay, the God you serve, everything inclusive, and then knowing what kind of woman will support that purpose, right? But sometimes men just feel like, she looks nice, she's got a good character, and then not every nice, good person. And sometimes when the relationship now starts, you now see conflict in terms of, okay, we're not aligning in terms of like purpose and dreams and everything. That's a major cause of delay.
I see.
I think that can relate to the women as well. Okay. That can relate to the women as well, because some women just feel like, okay, at this time, I'm 22, I'm 23, I'm not ready for this thing. Let me just, like lack of intentionality. Just play around with it. I hope to get married when I'm like 26. What plans are you putting in place for that? Are you just going to go to the supermarket and pick up a man at 26? It doesn't happen that way. So a total lack of intentionality is the number one thing. Then the second one, it still relates to the first, but this should ideally be the first. And this affects people of faith, people that call on God.
Okay.
Right? They just feel like, because I am a Christian, Abba is my father. Right? A man is going to drop in your lap. A woman is going to show up at your doorstep. It doesn't happen.
Interesting.
For both parties, God is intentional about preparing the man and the woman, and they have to align with that intention.
Yeah. Let me just cut in here. And in previous episode, we talked about how this is very much traced to upbringing of kids. When you have a household of boys and girls, more attention is placed on the
women.
On the women, and you hear conversations around preparing for your husband's house and all that, but there's no conversation around that for men. And I think that's why it looks as if we have more ready and prepared women today. That was, let me say, seemingly prepared women today than men for marriage.
I think the hammer. For me, sometimes I don't feel like even the women are as ready as they should be. That is hence the delay, right? Because everything is born from the spirit. When you are ready for marriage, it's not a particular set of values or something. It's not like you're going to get perfect in character. I'm 18 years in marriage. I'm still getting that being that perfect wife, right? It's not like you're going to get one, but it's just a deliberately aligning yourself, because for the man that you would be your husband, you should be perfect for him.
Right.
You're not a perfect person, but you should be perfect for him. So everything boils down to how you relate all of this information with enough desire. Some people call it desperation at some point, to God. I'm just talking about women now. Now, to the men, I have 3 boys. The oldest one is 16. To be honest with you, I have started preparing my boys. We talk about relationships. We talk about when would you get married. We talk about all those kind of things. How do you form the values of the kind of person that is suitable for you to be, even in friendship with? I don't wait till, you get to one age and then you come up with one person. I'm like, from now, from 12, from 11, I'm telling you that, okay, this is who you are, this is who we are, this is what we believe in, so that it forms the foundation of how you think in terms of anything that has to do with relationship.
Right. And that's great. Well done on that.
I wish I can push in fact, I plan to push this out, especially to parents. How to prepare your daughter, your son, from when they're children, how to pray for them, how to encourage them. Sometimes in the Nigerian culture, sometimes it just be like, for a long time, hey, if I see you with that boy, hey, you want to go and give a girl belly, all those things will just be there, all those fears, they just instill fear.
Right.
And then one day they'll be asking you, when are you bringing a woman home? Or when are you bringing a man home? I mean, where did this switch happen?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
there's no structure from the foundation, and it's a very vital thing. And it's even a very important topic, because we've heard stories about the most prominent people who seem to be doing very well in business and other aspects failing in marriage, making it seem like something can freestyle, so you don't need to do too much of preparing for it. Hopefully, more parents can begin to see the need to educate kids or their children from a very young age.
Very true.
But before going, I'm kind of interested in, you're more experienced than me in this thing, apparently, in the sense that you've been there, you've been single, you're married, and you've been married for a couple of years, and of course you've got 3 boys like you mentioned. But
this year August I'll be 18 years.
18. Wow. Congrats. That's a long time already.
My marriage is an adult.
Wow, it is actually. Wow. But then, so makes it perfect, because I want to know, were there moments where you felt the pressure or delay? Because we're talking about delay now, right? Looking at your own experience, would you say you experienced any form of delay before you got married, and what did you learn from it? What do you think caused the delay and all that?
Okay, if you ask me when I wanted to get married, I wanted to get married at 18. From then, I started telling myself that, I have 3 senior sisters, people are getting married every Saturday, we are going, I should be this, and all of that. I'm like, why are you guys not getting married? Please, if people play with me, I'll just get married and leave this house. So I don't know, for some reason I was very pro-marriage, right? But I didn't get married till maybe 6 years later.
Okay.
6 years, 2 broken engagements.
Wow.
And the final one was Paul.
Okay.
So I would say from when I got aware of, I want to get married, I want to be in a serious relationship, to when I got married, I would say there was delay.
You're now beginning to look at the delay is relative now, because
when you say
delay
6 years
later, to some people you married early.
Yeah, that's to some people. But to other people, delay is relative. Now, let's just talk about that delay being relative. Some people might be 30 and that is their early marriage. Let's not get this twisted, because people have their desire levels. Me, my own is, I have senior sisters that are much older than me, and I was like, why should we be going as a young lady? Why should we be going to do bridal training for other people and there's no party rice in my house? It started as something as little as that. I started being interested, because when you go to marriages, you do that all of that. I started being interested in that, and I attended a good church that I think most of their things is based on relationships. So I learned a lot, and my sisters were not attending that church. I was the one just forcing myself to go to leave everything and go to that church.
Were you the first child or first sister?
I'm the last.
Last.
I'm the last. So you see where the people should marry now so that I can marry came from.
And were you the last to marry?
I was the first to get engaged. My first engagement happened when I was 22, and by then none of my sisters were married. Nobody had any like serious. I was now very worried. I now called them. I said, people are godly women, people are beautiful women. What's going on in this house? We now had the discussion. See little me that time. I now brought my sisters together. We now did a prayer night vigil. It was in September of a particular year. And by December of that year, somebody got hitched and all that. So the things just went fast. In the end, that relationship broke and I became the last person to get married again. So back to delay. Delay is relative. I say this so that people don't feel the pressure of, oh, I am 33, I'm not married, I'm having delays. Sometimes it's better to marry at that age, or it's better to marry at that time, because that is God's plan for you. Somebody married at 21 doesn't mean that that is your plan.
Right.
And this doesn't mean that you should actively not, you should just leave it. And, there's mercy in everything. You should just leave it and be like, oh, since God is orchestrating everything, I don't have any role in it. Anytime it happens. While that means leaving it to God, there are also things you should do. Let's get into one thing. One thing is being mindful and correcting your language. I've been teaching that to a lot of women that I talk to, young women that I talk to. Correcting your language. Don't be like, oh, I'm not even ready yet. You'll be praying about marriage. When you talk to people, you want to sound indifferent, like you want to give this picture of you're not desperate. My dear, saying what you want is scriptural. It doesn't have anything to do with desperation. Okay, let's say for instance, you're studying for an exam, you are going for an interview. Anything that you're doing that is serious, you do it seriously.
Right.
You focus on it. Somebody can see your desperation in the way you're studying. Somebody can see your desperation in when you want to get that multinational job. Somebody can see your desperation every other way. But when it comes to choosing a life partner, because it involves somebody else, you want to be random about it.
I see. This part is very interesting to me, because first of all, you talked about your sisters, how you guys formed the prayer meeting together about marriage.
Yeah.
That was very intentional. Coming from you being the last born, it showed how much it was dear to you.
No, I wasn't just the last born. I was the last born that was shut up. Like when my sisters are talking, I'm supposed to shut up. When they are having it, I'm supposed to go into the kitchen and fry chips for them while they are talking, because they are the big girls.
Interesting. I mean, that was very courageous of you, and that was very purpose-minded of you, because it takes a lot of passion for something to be like that at that age.
That's because at that point, I'd already been engaged for 3 months and they did not know, because I didn't have the courage to tell them. So me telling them, I was now like, okay, this is XYZ. I have this ring I've been hiding. So all you guys can come and see what's going on with me.
Oh my God. Interesting. To the other thing you said also, you said something around being true to yourself. You know how some women say they don't want to show that they're desperate and all that. I think that's also an interesting conversation because
No, see, that forms the bulk of it.
hmm,
Believe me, I speak to a lot of women and they want to be casual. I speak to men as well. Men also want to be casual. People just want to be casual about. For me to break the genes of, oh, people are not getting married in my house, I was very, very serious. Like, if you see me at that age when I'm trying to get married, I was dating, I was putting myself out there, I was reading books, I was going for marriage seminar, I would sow seed, I would do everything. I was behaving like this day 35-year lady or 38-year lady would behave.
what in your background at that age influenced that approach to marriage?
Okay, one thing, I had a friend,
Okay.
one of my best friends. She got married at 21. I was like, hello, this girl is my best friend, though. If anything, I would say I'm more outgoing than she is. She's very quiet. She's very, like she kind of like opened my eyes, which led
see.
to my first engagement. Like she kind of like I asked her that if you're about to marry, if somebody asks you to, she said if somebody asks me now, I would agree. And I woke up. It was a wake up call for me. Even if I've been saying this thing since I was 18, when she said that, I was not like, this is not the wrong thing. Then I went to Hilltop Church. They are the people behind True Love Conference, and all that. They do a lot of relationship teaching. Like every Wednesday, instead of like Bible study, they teach about marriage, single, everything. So there was a whole lot of information coming every week. Dr. Stephanie, a lady that does heart to heart, right?
Okay.
There was a whole lot of information coming every week when you go to church.
Oh, I see.
So I was like, I cannot be going back home and act like these things are not working.
I see. Your environment shaped that too.
Okay, another thing I was thinking about is marriage is the only place where you can start a family, you can have a relationship, you can have sex. So instead of as a young individual throwing your cookies around, I know that if I'm going to do anything like that, I want to be married. Can you tell me anything as a guy that you perceive that causes that could be like cause a delay? I mean, for a man.
For a man, first of all, I think there's a mindset or social expectation. Let me start with that. Social expectation when you're a man, even in your early 20s. Already, what has shaped a lot of men, I believe, is the mindset that you need to be prepared before you go into a relationship or get married. And it even shows in the way people are dating today, because you see on social media we are seeing more content from very young kids in their teenage years spending money to impress their girlfriends, and it's becoming a norm. So there's that expectation on men to come prepared financially and in many other things just to impress a woman. So that mindset alone will make a guy want to get his life in shape. You want to have your career stabilized, finances stabilized, and other things before you now say, okay, I'm ready to get married. I think that's one of the major things that is that would cause a natural delay for a man. And because men are naturally egoistic, we will tend to we can draw a lot of ego from having those things in place when you want to approach a woman. I feel like in a market pool where you have a lot of men focusing on one woman, your fighting strength is your possession.
Or double spender.
Which is what's the reality today.
I don't feel like anybody is ever there. Even Dangote is still looking for how to make money.
Okay.
No, but is anybody there? Like, I now have that money. The human existence is insatiable. We will always want more.
True.
So if structures like, oh, I have a job, I have something that I do that I get income, I'm not jobless, I have a direction. I mean, it's not so much. If it were me, I would encourage my child that, look, I'm even hoping that I'm a grandmother soon. Go for it. If it were my child, I would say, oh, you don't have to have everything figured out, because in life, I'm still figuring things out.
Right.
There's no end to figuring things out.
I get that. I get that. But then I think it also boils down to individual preferences. What you want first, especially when you see examples around you of people, guys that would get married because they fell in love and they didn't have a lot of things in place, and now they seem like they are struggling. And because I've met too many, I meet married men from time to time that will tell you they wish they were single. That if they were single, they would not have to be doing a lot of the work. Yes, they don't have to. So when you hear things like that from married people, a single person
sorry to cut you, the number one hindrance to other men getting married is marriage men. Have you seen that skit where they say, you ask a woman, are you married? She say, yes, I'm married. Look at my ring. Then you ask a man, are you married? Yeah, we are only pregnant. We did this. It's because she got pregnant. Married men, not all, not all.
Yeah,
sometimes can be very discouraging. But there are good ones that can encourage, right? But for the most part, like, they just want to go and test the waters outside. It's not another thing.
Well, and also for some men, I think the dynamics of men and women is different, because let's not talk about this biological clock thing, where women have a age of menopause and men don't really have that. Puts a woman in a situation where she feels more pressure to settle before she gets close to that age. Especially when a woman is entered into her 30s, there's a tendency to now begin to feel that pressure to want to enter into a relationship. And in that state of mind, the woman tends to now want to settle. On the other hand, for a man, you are not, the only pressure you can face at that age is maybe your peers, your guys are married, and then you just feel like normal peer pressure. But it's never from an internal or from a biological standpoint. So I think that dynamics also makes it easy for a man to just take more time to develop himself, or say establish himself before marriage.
Yeah, one of the things that causes delay also, because we must talk about this, is a very strong point. I sent you a video about it. Did you see that video?
Comfort, true. But yeah, the single person
the title of that video should be called Comfort. Especially from a woman's point of view. Why should I leave my father? Why should I leave my mother? Why should I leave my comfort to come to your, I don't know, to take this BF, or to starting with you? Or
I think men have more of that mindset than women though.
There's the part where women, are doing that. But for men, sometimes if these men are sexually active, they're getting it somehow, some way. It adds to it. Women as well.
Sure.
I'm not exonerating my gender.
True.
If people are, I'm talking about Christians now. Any other person, you can also join the conversation. But for Christians, once a Christian man is having a stretch of delays, sometimes it's because when he checks everything that a wife should be doing for him, or that companionship should give him, if he's getting it. So I mean, what the heck? Sometimes some men, they have living women. So why would I get married when I already have something going on?
You're right. To be fair, it's a common thing in society where men feel like they are already enjoying the benefits of marriage from a relationship. So why are you trying to get married? Why are you rushing to get married anyways?
So from the women's perspective is, why do I need to maybe humble myself and try to align with this man's vision for our family, when this man is not? I've met somebody that her boyfriend is intimidated by her dad. Her dad is very wealthy. And she just keeps talking about how should she leave her dad. You know, like if she wants to buy a car now, next week her father will just send her the check or something like that. Why should she leave? Like her boyfriend is really intimidated. I'm like, you're supposed to do more of reassuring. She said, no, she's not reassuring nobody. That anybody that doesn't have the guts to, you know, like marry her in spite of, like, she just shoot.
So are you talking about confidence to approach her now?
No, not confidence. They're already in a relationship.
Okay.
And instead of the relationship to be moving forward,
Okay.
she's more conscious of what her dad can do for her that her husband to be cannot do.
Oh, I see.
So the comfort is, I am comfortable already.
Okay.
Why do you want to remove my boots?
I see. So is that
I am already comfortable. See, a lot of women for you, I know you say it for men, but a lot of women fall in this category. I am already comfortable. I mean, if I wanted something, I could go buy it myself. If I wanted to do so, if I want to travel, I know how to, you know, take myself out, buy myself nice things, do everything that I need for myself. Why do I need a man? Any small thing you see as you're dating, just be like, I know how to treat myself better. You don't give somebody the time of day to get to know you and to know how to treat you.
How does now a woman balance not settling with being realistic? Or I didn't put the question correctly. A woman is already in her early 30s, for instance, and she believes she's getting close to menopause. You put it out.
Let's not talk about menopause and everything. Let's just say any woman, a woman that is 21 could feel this way. Like, why should I even bother with you when I'm in this sphere? We're looking at women from 21 to even 41. Like, it doesn't have any. Let's not think about time clock, because miracles happen. Women gave birth at 50s, 70s. Right. I don't know. Yeah, people adopt or something happens somehow. I saw on Instagram one woman that was so excited that she started giving birth at 46. I was like, wow. But things happen.
Okay. Yeah, true.
You know, so I don't want to push the biological clock narrative, even if women tend to look at that a lot.
Okay.
I just want to look at it from how does comfort play a role in delay? Can I bring a narrative of how to balance comfort versus settling? Is that the question?
I want to say settling versus being realistic. I was trying to use the example of being realistic now, but there are other things that reality brings to the table. Like, for instance, women that migrate from Nigeria to the UK, you know, I feel like there are more married men over here than single men, or maybe just the dynamics of culture. You don't find a lot of people from your culture to get married to, so it looks like there's a bigger pool, but yet with a little option for you to choose from in terms of your spec and all that, you know. So that's the reality of things for a lot of women, especially women that have migrated, you know.
Diaspora, yeah.
Yeah, in diaspora. But then, how do you deal with that issue while not settling for just anybody? Because I found women that in their early 20s, thereabouts, they were very, very picky. And the moment they enter into their early 30s, they are not picky anymore. They are now open to almost anybody. And that's why a lot of women end up for the wrong person. So how do you balance, for women, how do they balance that reality of your current situation or limitation in terms of access to the kind of men you want with not settling? I don't know if you get the question.
Some women will say, because I waited this long, I have to have a good pie. I'm just saying this to the older women, because I didn't take this bullshit when I was 22. I shouldn't take it now that I'm 34. Do you get
That's a good way to see it, actually.
That's one. But let me just give an overall picture. Everything still boils down to God. Yeah? Let me just paint it let's start from him, because he's like the author of everything, and truly should start from him.
Yeah.
In drawing up your clear view of what matters to you. I mean, I'm talking to people that have a relationship with God right now.
Right.
Let nothing like, okay, you're doing this pride to show, okay, this is the kind of man I married, he's an odogo spender. Just be realistic about somebody that you can have life with, play with, enjoy things, and you're not looking at your father, at the comfort of your father or yourself. So women are very wealthy on their own, right? You're not looking at your money, you're looking at God. And having that time, take that time away from a lot of things to just meditate, pray, and really think about what is important before writing your set of values in a husband. So that you're not writing it because, oh, my biological clock is clocking, or
compromising.
No, you are just writing this thing because the Bible says he grants us the desires of our heart, and that is a possibility as well. That is very possible.
Right. So
one of my favorite prayers is praying the prayer of, Lord, prepare me for the man that you have prepared for me. I always do that prayer session with the ladies that I speak with. Even for men, that prayer is suitable. Lord, prepare me for the woman that you have prepared for me, such that when I meet her, whatever things that is going on around her will not distract me. I'll be able to recognize that this is the one I'm supposed to do life with. It starts with being intentional about praying, about setting goals, about writing down what is really important. I'm a stickler for writing down. I can't do much things without, once I write things down, it just works. And it's a biblical principle, write down the vision. So that you're not settling, so that you're not being, what's the word? You're not being slack. Slack is you're relaxed. You're not doing anything about this thing. So you're not settling because you're, oh, no man. And you're not being slack and indifferent because you're very comfortable. Go back to God and be intentional. Open up your heart in your prayer, in your anything that you want to do. Be very intentional in writing down. How, like a period, if you can take a holiday to just fast and pray and write your vision down. I'm telling you, this thing works a lot. Your vision from what you're getting from the Word of God is not a standard of, oh, my menopause, oh, my this, oh, my. It's just from what you feel that will satisfy you. And God will grant you the desires of your heart.
Yeah, I love that point, to be honest, because I think the problem, that's a way to address the problem. A lot of women don't have a spec anymore, and by spec, I'm not asking you to be bringing up grand ideas.
Men too can be random.
Yeah, no, I mean it's both ways. Let's not even gender.
A lot of people.
It's everywhere. But so I think everybody if you're single, you should actually have either a mental or a well-written list of what you actually your deal breakers, the things that you look out for in your potential spouse. That would help you to stay consistent and
then also marry it with the things. Sorry to cut you there. And also marry it with the things that, okay, if I'm expecting a kind wife,
yeah,
I should be a kind husband.
Sure.
If I'm expecting a this wife, I should be a that. Or if I'm expecting a very feminine, soft wife, I should be, the male version that is able to protect that femininity and all of that. So there should be not just writing your vision down, you're writing a vision of how the union will go, your contribution and their contribution to make it work.
Right. And that's a major point. We all need to know what we want, so that when we find it, we would not be settling just for anything or because of any pressure we feel. And that goes to both genders. So that even if you turn 30 or 35 or 40, as long as what you have written down is realistic, you will not settle, But yeah, I know it's easier said than done, but I think it's very helpful for a lot of people, like you've advised. Just as a way to round off, I want to know what are the things you would advise people to start preparing to do as they prepare to get married. You mentioned how you were very intentional about it right from when you were 18. You didn't see it like you're being desperate. You saw it as, oh, this is important, this is what I want, so I go for it, just the same way I pursue a career.
Man, have you heard that song, I'm Desperate for You? I'm desperate for you.
Yeah, sure.
I would say I'm desperate. I'm not afraid to use that word. That word doesn't always connote a negative meaning. I am still desperate for my husband. I am always like, where is my husband? I want to hug. I want to talk to. He's like a huge part of my life. So I wouldn't use that word desperate as a negative thing in this case.
Right.
I was serious and I used to ask people, oh, so then there were not much like dating sites or anything like that. So I used to ask, okay, what of that your brother that is it dating? I used to ask those kind of questions. Like I was going out of my way to get a man.
Oh wow. Interesting. Yeah. No, it's real. I'm serious. It's really
no. I'm not going to ask you to marry me. I'm going to ask us to be friends.
Okay.
And I'm a very marriageable person. So if you did not see it, I don't give you more than 2 days. That one of the things I would say I did as a single person trying to get married. I did a lot of speed dating. By the grace of God, my husband would say I'm still hot, but then I was a serious hottie. So I was having a lot of traffic. So if I date you for a day and I see that, oh, this is not okay, out of the picture. Let's move to the next person on the queue. So it was just happening. And then I just saw my husband. I say, all the queue, stop. No more. No. I don't have like a queue. That's the wrong way to put it. What I was doing is I'll meet somebody. I'll tell you that, okay, look, I'm looking to get married. Though. I'm not just out to date. If you like me, let's talk about it. Then if we're having it, this is on first date. I'm not doing it second date, third date. No, I don't have a week to give to you. I don't give people a week. I don't think I ever gave anybody like a whole 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, if you're not on that frequency, out of the book, you're not in the picture.
But I think from everything you said, what is very ideal is you need to know what your priority is. And if something is a priority to you, go for it. Don't care about people calling you desperate. Just go for it. I think for me, it has not just somehow been a priority for me along the way. And for some other ladies out there, I feel like it might be a priority for them, like you said, but they try to subdue it so that people don't see them as desperate. Downplay it rather. So people don't see them as desperate. And I think that's what has caused the delay for a lot of men and women today.
Yeah.
Oh, but this is an interesting conversation. So as a way to round off, I want you to say something to any man or woman out there who is feeling discouraged about love. If you would go back and speak to your unmarried self, what advice would you give them based on your experience, as a way to round up?
I would say if you're a man or a woman, please don't waste somebody's time because you're wasting your time. That's like an attack on the men. No. I mean, be very intentional. If you've prayed, if you've written down anything, I'm not saying you're going to get your 100% or anything, but when your spirit is awake and you see that one, you will know that this is the one. Like the search is over.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't take like a month to know. Let me shock you. The first day my husband spoke to me about marriage, I said yes. Guess how many days we'll be talking before that day? It was that day. I'd known him. We used to attend the same church.
Yeah.
I stopped attending that church for 18 months. Exactly about 18 months. I met him on the road.
Okay.
Right? I met him on the road. He was like, hey, you, where have you been? We started talking. He started asking me my goals and everything. I started talking. He asked me, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to marry. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that because I'm very marriage. I'm very pro marriage."
Yeah.
And he now said, "Leave that part. I'll marry you." And I said, "Are you serious? Me that's looking for husband. I'll just marry you now."
Nice.
And he kept saying, "I said, if you're serious, you go and tell your pastor. Let's start this thing. No joking." And before the end of that week, we got engaged. We were not dating.
Wow.
we were not dating at all. He just out of the blue saw somebody that he used to know, asked the person to marry, and me that was my gun was already cocked to shoot. I just shot, and I was just like, if you don't play with me, I'm ready to marry. I've been meeting people. In fact, that week, I think I dated maybe like 2 or 3 people, and
that week.
What happens is I meet you, we talk, I like you, I check you, do my background check, do my FBI check, do my everything check. I find out something I don't like. Oh, no. I don't date 2 people at the same time. So maybe your tenure finish on Monday evening, the other person's tenure is starting by Tuesday afternoon. I don't date 2 people at the same time.
No, it's very interesting. But guess what? 18 years later, you are doing very well. That's it. That's the interesting thing. You're doing very well. Family is intact. Your kids are doing fine. I mean, I can attest to that because I know your family, and I think there's a big lesson to learn there.
If you follow God, everything. Where am I? My husband wasn't doing so good. He was just like that tracks guy. He wasn't one of the rich brothers in church, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or something. He wasn't one of them. He wasn't the one. He was one of the ones that if somebody were even trying to consider him, people would just be like, "Oh, are you sure? Are you sure?" In fact, people ask me, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "I'm as sure as the back of my palm. I know what I'm doing."
Wow.
You know, so he didn't look like it. He didn't have the money. All those things that will make you say. But this is one thing I want to bring to our conversation before I round up. Marriage opens doors. For men as well. So there's a blessing. Some of those men that say, "Oh, they got married and they saw hardship." I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying they don't have the fear of God. But sometimes, just remember, the Bible says, this your wife. They can even pray that prayer and reverse whatever is going on in their lives. I beg, give me that scripture now before I go and...
Is it the part of...
Man that findeth a good thing and obtains favor from God. That's the best person to obtain favor from, if you ask me. I feel like there's still favor because my husband obtained a lot of favor marrying me, and we just kept growing and growing and growing as a couple. In the beginning, it wasn't so. Honestly, it was very... The beginning was the beginning. 0.
Yeah. I see. Wow.
We just lashed on and it was worth it.
I think I need to bring on more interesting marriage stories like yours on this podcast because this is very inspiring, to be fair, and I'm sure it's going to a lot of people are going to learn from it. I dare say more women are going to find this very, very interesting. Men,
always include your gender. Think about them.
All
they
right.
need to learn too.
Okay, let's do final word that relates to men. Would you say build your life and then marry, or marry and then build your life? What's your ideal philosophy of life in a very short?
Marry is part of your life. Your life is marry, if that's what you're called to do. It's part of your life. You shouldn't go and build your life and then somebody shows up later. You can't even trust her like that if you're already a built man. Some men, they will be telling you, because I have so and so, you have to sign prenup, you have to do this, you have to do that. Sometimes it really works when you're building with somebody. You have somebody you're praying with, you people are working together. One shall chase 1,000, 2 chase 10,000. So if any man that out there that thinks if he's of age to get married, please go and have that deep walk meditation period where you pray, you write your goals, you set out, and then God will order yourselves to the right woman. Prepare. Tell God to, Lord, prepare me for the person that you're preparing for me. And God will really sort it out.
Amen. Wow. Thank you very much. I loved your perspectives. You brought a very different and interesting and realistic perspective to these things. Thank you very much, Mrs. Foh.
It was really lovely being here as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed the conversation. And to everyone that's watched out there, please do the needful. Share with somebody that find this very inspiring. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Alright, thank you very much. See you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.